Hi everyone, welcome to my podcast Pivot with PJ. This is your host PJ. We have Sudharsanan Ganapathy. Sudhar, the hero origin story. We want to hear that.
My childhood was not easy, but I'm still grateful for it because
Who are you to yourself?
seeing myself as that 10-year-old,
Big success isn't quite big a deal when you have enjoyed every step that you have taken towards it.
that's why we call it progress and not success.
I'm PJ and I'm here to navigate the bends of the roads with you. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get on this ride together on Pivot with PJ. Hi everyone. Um, Welcome to my podcast Pivot with PJ. This is your host PJ. This is going to be the first episode of my podcast. I have a very special person here with me in the studio. We have Sudharsanan Ganapathy, founder and CEO of the Social Company. It's a very successful personal branding agency out of Chennai. It's also one of the fastest growing personal branding agencies in India. Um, they're serving clients from about 11 countries. Sudhar is also a sought after speaker. He is an expert in personal branding. He has been featured in publications like Your Story, LinkedIn, Josh Talks. He's also been a speaker on BNI and TEDx platforms. I've known Sudhar for about a year, couple of years perhaps. I've known him as a committed, highly competent, and what I love about him is he's a craftsman of his art. Right. He's also prodigiously fluent writer, speaker, um, and I want to give a spoiler that a book is on the way for him. Perhaps we can talk about it um, sometime during our conversation today. And see, the other thing that I admire about Sudhar is his ethics. Um, his ethics is unparalleled, personally and professionally. There's a lot of values and um, beliefs that he and I share. We've had several interesting conversations off camera, and to me, I thought there cannot be a better person to be on my first episode than Sudhar. He has been mentoring me uh, on podcasting, on creating content, and thanks for agreeing to be with me, Sudhar, today. And being the lifelong learner you are and a minimalist you are, I think it'll be a good conversation you and I are going to have today. I look forward to the conversation. Welcome, Sudhar, and yeah, let's get on with it. Is there,
Thank you so
would
much,
you
PJ.
like to
Thank you so
say a
much
few
for that
words?
wonderful. Yep. So thank you so much for that wonderful introduction.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. I know you're very
Really
busy.
honored to be on your first podcast. No.
Appreciate that. Thanks for making the time. And see, one thing that I get reminded um, is what George Bernard Shaw said about. I think it was in somewhere in 1903 when he wrote Man and Superman. He said, "Those who uh, can do and those who cannot teach." Perhaps he didn't meet you at that time. You do and you teach. You are perhaps both man and Superman. So it's very thrilled to have you here and dive deep into the man that you are and a bit of the Superman that you are also about your thing. The goal really is for today to expose the side of Sudhir that your followers, people who know you, who don't know you, can come to know, right? That's really my goal. Let's try and explore some of the parts of yourself that's not very familiar for the people, right? And also we'll talk a little bit about personal branding, what it is, what it is not, your views of it, and maybe our audience can benefit from what you think of it. You and I are avid uh, comic book fans. I know Shankari is also, and you've binge watched, marathon watched all the Avengers and the Marvel movies. um, for me, I've always found it fascinating to watch the origin stories. It just opens up the dimensions of that hero, or sometimes uh, uh, villains of comic books also. Makes it relatable, makes it personal, makes them real. So I was wondering, we want to see Sudhar's Sudhar, the hero's origin story. We want to hear that. So can you maybe start at the beginning and share with us what your origin is, where it started?
Sure. By origin, do you mean my life's origin, or do you mean my professional life's origin?
Whatever comes for you. Perhaps
Right.
both. Yeah. In a way,
Right.
they are integrated, right? You can't quite separate both, but
Right.
yeah,
True. True that.
yeah.
Uh, uh,
Let's yeah,
I
let's
consider
whatever comes up for you. Let's hear it.
right. I consider my origins that the year my dad passed away. No, my dad passed away very early in life. I was 6 years old then. So my childhood was not easy, but I'm still grateful for it because what I had most people didn't have. I had a kind home. I had educated mom. She was able to find a government job after my father died. It took her five years after my father died to get a proper job, but we always had food on the table and a roof over our head. And I got to study in good schools. No, even if we are not able to eat three times a day, I studied in a good school. That gave me very good self-image. When I came out and told my school's name, people said, "Hey, you study in that school, which means you should be bright." No, I didn't even know I was bright. Just because I was in that school, people reinforced in me that I was bright.
Nice,
So, so
nice.
luckily, I come from good. I have a very good education background. So that's where it all started. And like any good Indian kid, I also did engineering. So,
Yeah, yeah. So
uh,
that's probably a conversation on its own. I think nobody can stop us once we start that topic. But yeah, please.
true. So, I once I finished engineering, I understood that I was not going to be an engineer. I
Mm.
did not want to be an engineer,
Like most
but
of us,
somewhere along the
Indian
line,
kids.
yeah, like most of us, yeah, like both of us. But the thing is, it's not that I was bad at engineering. I scored good marks. I had a very good score when I passed out, but I did not want to be an engineer. I even got placed in a few companies. I
Hmm.
gave up on my placements.
Wow,
Reason being, somewhere along the line during those 4 years, the entrepreneurship bug bit me. Predominantly because I was taking an entrepreneurship development class by accident,
wow,
and that professor turned my life around. You know?
wow, wow.
And that too by accident. I wanted to study robotics, and as usual, I was late to register for that. No, it was no, it was an elective. It was not a
Okay,
compulsory subject, so it was
okay.
an elective. I wanted to do that, and I was late, and there was only one seat available in one course that was entrepreneurship development. So
That
obviously, not
changed
a lot of people were
the
accepted
course.
into it. Yeah, that changed the entire course of my life. But
Fantastic.
after that, I started as a freelancer right after college,
Mm.
right after my UG, when I
Okay.
started my PG.
Wow.
The reason I did my PG is also because when I told my mom that I was going to pursue entrepreneurship, she did not want me to do it. She did not want me to take risks. It's
Mm.
not that I would risk my money. That she knew that I will be able to make money even if I didn't have money.
Mm.
But she was constantly comparing us with others because we fell short in the early periods of our life,
Mm.
and she wanted us to catch up with our peers.
Mm.
So that constant want of catching up with peers was always there in my household.
Mm.
So basically, she wanted me to get a job, and I said, if I do my masters, I'll get a better pay, and I'll
Mm.
be ahead in life. And
Mm.
that made her said say say yes, and I got into masters, and I started my freelancing journey together
Wow. Along with your masters, you're kind of
along with my masters.
doing the freelance on the side. Very
Yep.
interesting. Okay. Did
But
you?
freelancing took over. I started doing very well in my freelancing life, and
And yet you
eventually
completed your
that became.
masters.
Yep. Actually, the thing is that uh, the goal was to do PhD,
Mm.
right? The goal was to do PhD, and but somewhere along the line, I knew that it was not for me,
Mm.
right? And doing my masters itself, I was pretty sure that I was going to pursue entrepreneurship because I
Mm.
was already making some money,
Mm.
and I knew that I was capable of doing it on my own.
Fantastic.
Now, we all need a proof of concept in ourselves. We need to
Right.
show ourselves that we can do it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's the
so
hard
that
part.
was my
That's in
point.
fact the hardest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because no, I did not have backup. Nobody in my family is from business. So
Mm,
nobody
mm,
knew business, knew how to
mm.
do business. So somehow, no, I figured things out in the beginning and things fell into place. It's not that no, it would be so wrong if I say that I figured everything out. Things
Right.
just fell in place, you know,
Right. Right.
uh, and the clients just fell in place. And they wanted me to handle their profiles, and things started, flowing.
Amazing.
And then in 2016, I continued as a freelancer till 2016.
Mm,
And in 2016, I registered my agency as a
mm.
digital marketing agency.
Okay.
And that went really well until 2020. And in 2020, COVID struck. And like most of us, my business was not doing that good.
Mm.
Uh, no, I'm being very modest when I say it's not doing that good. It didn't do well at all. So it didn't do well at all. So
Yeah. Yeah.
no, we had 10 employees and six clients. So
Whoa.
that was the point.
Wow.
And we had to pivot somewhere, and we pivoted into personal branding.
Fantastic.
And things
Fantastic.
changed
And
from there on, and we started growing very well from there on.
amazing. Amazing. And like they say, when you hit the bottom, there is only way is up. So
Yeah. And
um,
that is so true, Prasanna. That's so true. The thing is, when we were in the bottom, we knew that we were going to grow because there was
further down.
nowhere else to go. Yeah, there was no further down.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
And
can
that knowing phase
relate.
will take us no places, I believe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. Great. And yeah, we'll talk about a little bit more on your professional origin.
Right. Right from the beginning, I used to experiment things on myself and in my profile before I upload it on my clients' profiles.
Mm.
And that has been a practice since 2012, since I was freelancer. Now, just because I was creating content on Facebook, and those days Facebook was a thing. So,
Right.
so I was
Those
creating
days.
So I was creating content on Facebook, and a supermarket owner he figured that I was good at creating content, and he asked me to create content for a supermarket, and that's how I got my first client.
Hmm.
So things just fell into place, and then I understood one thing: if you showcase what you can do from your own in your own life,
Hmm.
people will eventually buy it from you.
Hmm. Hmm.
So during COVID-19, I decided that I was going to get into personal branding because my personal brand took off.
Hmm.
Now, I started creating content on LinkedIn, and I went from zero followers, 130 followers, to 10,000 followers in a span of like 6 months.
Wow.
And it
Oh.
suddenly blew up. And
Hmm.
yeah, I created content and kept on creating content until it came to that point.
Hmm.
And I was already a product of my product. I was a pakka proof of
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's amazing.
and
And
then
and
it was
and
so easy to
and
sell.
obviously you can go into the market with full confidence that what you do works because
Exactly.
you are the proof of concept. Fantastic.
Exactly.
I think that's
And
a that's that's an
I believe
interesting. Please go on. Sorry.
Yep. So I believe if you are in a service business, the best way to showcase your product to your clients is by being the product of your own product.
Hmm. Hmm. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I wish um, everybody views it that way, because I've seen uh, web design agencies having a crappy website, and yeah, because it kind of doesn't scream quality, doesn't scream that you care, right? Can you share a bit about what are the other roles that you play? What are the other significant roles that you play in life? Let's start from there, and then maybe talk a little bit about your family first, and then yeah, share some of the other roles that you find important and significant for you.
Right. Right. I'm a son. I'm a husband. I'm a father. Uh, so I have been a decent son, a decent husband, but a good father, I believe. So, so that these are the important roles I play, and I'm a good friend.
Mm,
No, I take people seriously.
mm,
Um, and which was not which was not which was not one of my qualities in the beginning, but now it's not so.
mm,
No,
mm,
initially, it was all transactional.
mm,
I used to be very transactional. I used to be
mm,
very, goal oriented,
mm,
business oriented, job oriented guy.
mm,
But
mm,
now, you know, I've understood that people matter more than your
mm.
business. With people comes business naturally, but still,
Right, right.
people matter more because at
But
the end of the day, you
particularly
need.
in the business that you are in,
Yeah,
yeah,
seriously.
and it's
It's
good
about,
that it's not
there is
you don't do it
beautiful
just
saying.
because you're um, you need it for the business, but that's who you are. I think being authentic also helps about that.
Very true. And there's this beautiful saying. This actually changed in my mind when I read this quote. Uh, People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Fantastic. Yeah,
So,
amazing.
so if people have to understand how worthy you are, you have to truly care for them.
You talked about the roles that you play for others, uh, so that as a father, as a husband, as a son and a friend. Who are you to yourself?
That's a nice question, Prasna. Who am I to myself?
Would
I'm
you
just see.
call yourself a
I
seeker? Obviously, I think we see ourselves, we show up for ourselves differently at different times. But you know, how does it manifest for you? How do you manifest for yourself?
Right. I see myself as that 10-year-old guy who keeps on going. Because one thing that I understood about myself is that I'm so relentless, and
Hmm.
I keep seeking until I get my answers. No, I from the beginning I've understood that I'm not the smartest person in the room. I've never been the smartest person in the room. Not just because I think that I'm dumb. I don't think I'm dumb. I know I'm in the I'm in the top 70th percentile maybe. But one thing that I understand is that I've always deliberately put myself in a room of people who are more intelligent than me.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'm that guy who always figures it out, PJ.
Doesn't
That's how
that
I
doesn't
see myself.
that make you the smartest already?
No, it's not. No, if I start thinking that I'm the smartest, I will not keep doing so.
Yeah.
So
No, fair.
the idea is
Fair
to
enough. Fair enough.
the
That's
idea is
that's
to be the idea is to be
uh,
the dumbest in the room and the smart and the poorest in the room. So to keep putting ourselves in the room of rich people, in the room of intelligent people, in the room of wise people is going to keep us going forward. That's what I believe.
how do you keep up with that? How do you keep up with those changes in these roles? Are you aware? Are you conscious? Talk a little bit about that.
Right. I, I actually started figuring this change in role, change in the way we see the role. Recently, I did
Mm,
not come to an understanding in the beginning, but recently I've come to an understanding that yes, people keep changing and we keep changing. The kind of role that we play in the same relationship keep changing,
mm,
and I think going with the flow is easier than overthinking this, because at the end of the day, no matter what how you prepare, life is going to beat you down to your knees, and again you grow from there.
right.
in,
Right.
in every relationship, in every relationship there's going to be good occurrences and bad occurrences,
Of course.
and bad occurrences not no not necessarily in coming from your end or from their end. It could be the situation side.
Mm,
So the
mm,
situations will change, and naturally the way you see the relationship changes.
mm,
But one thing that I've understood is what is important is important. People are important.
mm.
So uh, it's not the person versus the person. It's the situation versus both people.
Fantastic.
So if we need the relationship, we go to the bound the the end of the world to save it. If
Right.
we don't need it, if we can blame the situation and just let it go. But at the end of
Right.
the day, it's not the situation. It's you. You know.
Right. Right. Very well said. Very well said. I think, um, not overthinking about the changes, but adapting to the changes matters. And of course, upon reflection, it could teach us a thing or two. But like you said, we can't sit down and keep thinking about how has my role changed. uh, in vacuum,
Exactly.
unless there is something to reflect on where we had to adapt and evolve, right?
Exactly.
Fantastic.
The thing, the way I see is, no, something has to happen in order for you to, sit and think about it.
Mm,
If
mm.
it's going to be normal, it's going to be normal. So there's
Right.
nothing to, think about it.
Yeah.
You're just going in the flow.
Yeah.
If something happens, then you think about it.
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Great.
So, like Captain America says, now, like you started in we're both a fan of Marvel.
Right.
So, like Captain America says, every time someone tries to end a war before it starts,
Mm.
people die.
Wow.
So you don't have to try to stop a war before it starts. If it
Mm, mm.
starts, we'll see how it goes. No,
Right.
you can try to stop it after it starts, but before it starts, there's no point in trying to stop it.
You've come a long way from where you've started, Sudhar, right? As a undergrad student, and you convinced your mom to go to grad school, started freelancing, and then of course you declined some job offers, like you mentioned. That's one thing we talked about. But what are the other significant things in life that you said no to? Because I'm sure, see, as we progress, what the world sees is just the things that you've done right. uh, the world sees that you have done one right thing after another, and like you said, the situation and the conditions were favorable, things fell in place. These are the happy path that we can see, right? Like you look at the maze where you have to find a path for the mouse to get to the cheese. The world only sees the path that you have actually drawn,
Right,
not all the paths where you went and hit the dead end and had to come back, and all of that, right? So what are those paths where either you took and had to come back, or you never took? What did you say no to? And think of significant ones.
right. Before I get into this, I understand that I've been one of the luckiest people I've ever met. I'll tell you why. Because I've always had choices.
Hmm.
It's not one thing that comes in my path. I have multiple choices to choose from, and I've been
Hmm.
lucky that way. For example, I had a job, I had an MS offer, and I had a good decent gate score at the same time.
Hmm.
So I
Wow.
was it was okay to say no to a few things because I had
Hmm.
options.
Hmm.
And the same
Hmm.
goes with business. I had few options to start, and I chose digital marketing as a route.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I had a lot of part-time opportunities come along the way, and I
Hmm.
set up and I said yes to a few things, no to a few things, just because I had options.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
no, even when I niched down into personal branding, I had few options to niche down into, and I chose
Hmm.
personal branding because I felt that I was a natural at it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I've always had options, and the same goes with last year I even made a LinkedIn post about it. I got a job offer in the US,
Wow.
with a very good salary, over 300K salary with
Hmm.
stocks in the company, and I said no
Hmm.
to it.
Wow.
No, but I don't even regret any no that I said, because
Hmm.
uh, it's okay if you say no. It's not that opportunities won't come your way after that. You will still
Hmm.
have opportunities. You will still have options.
Right.
So if you say no now, does not mean next year you don't get opportunities. You still keep getting opportunities.
Right.
No,
Right.
and for that, I think we should keep our antennas open. That's it. No, opportunities are always there. You just have to be open to it.
What guided you in making those choices, and what still guides you in making those choices? And second, um, we'll talk about regrets. When you mentioned regrets, we'll talk about that in a bit. But
Right.
why don't you talk about what guides you in making these choices and saying no to certain things?
I think knowing who we are, and where we are going is the first step to understand what options to take and what not to take. No, we
Hmm.
all have a list of, no, we most of us, people who are watching this podcast, you and I, we all have a habit of writing down our dreams at least once a year. Some people do it every single day, but writing down your dreams is a habit that most people have. But
Hmm.
how many of us have a list of values,
Hmm.
things that define us?
Hmm.
For example, peace of mind is one of my top values.
Hmm.
Progress is one of my top values. So when we have
Not
values
success,
like
but
this,
progress.
yeah, progress. No, I don't even have a definition for success. I think I'm already successful, PJ, because I read
Amazing.
somewhere average income of an average Indian is 10,000 rupees per
Hmm.
month,
Hmm.
right? And if you can make 25,000 rupees a month in India, you
Hmm.
belong to the top 10%.
Wow.
So
True.
we most of us, if you have a smartphone and if you're watching this, you already belong to the top 10%. So
Yeah.
so there's no point in saying that you don't have anything yet,
Hmm.
because if you
Hmm.
have a roof over your head, if you have food to eat, if you have good clothes to wear, if you have some money in the pocket, you belong to the top 6% of the world.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think that I'm already successful. It's not about success, it's about progress. It's about going a step further further every single day, every single month, every single year.
Amazing,
So
amazing, and it's the journey,
it's
right?
going,
Success
yes,
probably is a little overrated today, and kind
yeah,
of drives
seriously.
competition, the definition of success, and rat race, and all of these, and it's also fed more and more in the education system that we have today, particularly in India, unfortunately. But it's for another day, I guess. Um, yeah, please go on. I think progress and peace of mind. What else?
Yep. Those are the important ones. I'm still figuring myself out,
Hmm.
but I don't want things in my way stopping me from figuring myself out. I want to
Hmm.
keep figuring myself out, and that comes with independence, with when you are your own boss,
Hmm.
when there are not a lot of people, behind you asking questions. Uh,
Right.
I have a lot of clients, but I have people taking care of them. That is one
Hmm.
good part of my life. But this is what exactly I wanted. If you had asked me 10 years ago where I wanted to be, this is what I would have visualized. I'm exactly where I wanted to be. And
Excellent.
now saying no becomes easy because you already know that this is exactly what you wanted. So
Great. Great.
because it's not about what I have defines that, PJ.
Hmm.
What how I feel defines that.
Hmm.
No, when I wake up, I feel grateful. So that's a feeling that cannot be matched with
Totally.
any amount of success, for that
Grateful and
matter.
restless.
Yeah, grateful and restless, grateful and always in the move.
How do you manage to get that peace of mind when you're still trying to figure yourself out? Doesn't that give you, uh, a bit of anxiety, so to speak, of who you really are before, as you're trying to figure that out?
I've been there, PJ, because I know what anxiety feels like.
Hmm.
Because I had real anxiety growing up, and I didn't even know that it was anxiety. After growing up, I understood that, oh, I've been having anxiety for many years now, and now I'm getting better.
Right.
so
Right. Oh.
so so that's how I felt like few years ago. For example,
Hmm.
I had severe stammering all my life,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I didn't even know that it was because of anxiety.
Wow.
But once I got better from anxiety, stammering vanished.
Wow.
Even now it shows up, and you will know if I stammer, I'm not feeling good. I'm anxious. So that's how my wife will easily understand. Why are you anxious now? That's what. No, so so that's how it goes. So I know what being anxious means, and no, I think I'm over it, because
Hmm.
I now don't connect the work to success now. I do my
Hmm.
work to feel good about myself,
Hmm.
and success is irrelevant. Success is not even in this equation now.
Hmm.
Initially, I
Hmm.
used to chase something, and now I've stopped the chase and I started
Hmm.
living. I started going
Nice.
in this direction.
Nice. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now let's.
One thing that I understood, PJ,
Yeah.
I used to have vision boards,
Hmm.
lists of goals. I used to write hundreds of, and I still have a list of 100. I have a bucket list of 100 things to do.
Hmm.
But that does not drive me. It's not that I have to do it today.
Hmm.
But I used to have a vision board which actually gave me anxiety.
Hmm.
I didn't know it
Wow.
at that point of
Hmm.
time.
Hmm. Hmm.
But once I understood it, I've stopped doing having vision boards. I don't have vision boards at home now.
Hmm.
But the goal is to wake up and do something worthwhile that would make my life and someone's life better,
Hmm.
and go to sleep with the feeling that I've done something really good for myself.
And
That's
your
the goal.
values kind of act serve as your anchor, right? It kind of make sure your vectors are pointing in a direction where you want to go, right?
Exactly.
That's all you need. As long as you're in the right direction and you're making progress, um, and you're enjoying along the way.
Exactly. I'm sure, no, being a coach, you would have met a lot of successful, unhappy people.
Oh yeah, totally.
I don't want to be one of them. So,
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
so let's not mix success and no happiness.
Hmm.
Let's doing the work is for happiness. Success is only a byproduct of your happiness.
Totally. And I remember someone saying this, right? That uh, success, you find success in big things and you find happiness in small things. Very eloquent, very eloquent. But also, success can also be in small things, and in success by itself as a concept is a little overrated. You don't have to be successful, and it is very personal. Also, you can define success however you want, right?
True. True.
So success depends on what the success criteria is, so to speak, in the business parlance, and criteria can differ. If you're happy, you can consider yourself successful. Like you said, you consider yourself successful already because you have what you need, and your needs are limited. Now you
Yeah.
can go after what gives you joy, and what makes helps you help others also, right?
Very true.
Amazing.
Very true.
Very interesting. And let's jump on to that regret part. You mentioned that there's nothing that you regret. See, there's when it comes to regret, Sudhar, I think that it plays a huge role in helping us become a better person, as long as we are able to watch regrets closely. What is regret for you, Sudhar, and how has that guided you over the years?
Right. Um, I deliberately no when we were talking about saying no to opportunities, uh, I say no first, and then after 2 or 3 years, I think about what if I had said yes to that opportunity,
Yeah.
and no, and we only imagine the best of scenarios, not the
Right.
worst in those cases, right?
Right.
So obviously, that would have taken you someplace else, and that might trigger that regret part.
Mm,
But one thing that I've understood is that I could have done a lot of things better.
mm.
Now, considering I've taken over 10 years to to come to a point where I get invited on podcasts. So, so, so in these 10 years, one thing that I've understood is that uh, I could have done this in 5 years. No,
Mm,
having the knowledge and the experience I have today, I could have done this in 5 years. But I didn't have it then.
mm,
And only because I took 10 years to come here,
mm.
I'm the person that I am today.
Right.
So
Right.
basically, whenever regret comes out in any form, I tell this to myself,
Mm,
and then I don't feel it. Like you said, this is one kind of escapism that I have from regret.
mm, mm, mm.
But I don't have any. I don't know if I have regrets. So that's the truth.
These are opportunities, so to speak, when we talked about, and some examples that you gave are also opportunities that you declined or said no to. See, as we progress, as we develop, probably somewhere around, uh, at least in Indian culture, around when you are in teenage, uh, we are a little bit aware of ourselves, even if not fully. um, and then we kind of, based on our exposure and um, intellect and knowledge, we kind of try to become more and more aware. And as we get to know more about ourselves, we come to realize that we are kind of chained. There's so much chains uh, that we are tied to. Whether it is the impressions and emotions that we carry with ourselves from our childhood, the experiences that that we carry as a baggage, uh, the surroundings and environment that we think we are kind of connected with, and there is no escape. So many things, right? It could be external, it could be internal to us. Have there been any such chains that you broke away from? What did you break away from, if there is any such thing for you?
Right. There were chains. There were chains. The first chain being coming from a very ordinary family, and the first the let me give you a list of chains that I've broken. The first chain is that I've never been out of my house until I joined college,
Wow.
and I didn't even know that I was homesick until I lost 14 kgs in 1 year.
Wow. So you went to
So
college in a different town.
in different town, yeah,
Mm,
it was 500 kilometers from my home. So
okay.
I
You couldn't even travel over the
went to
weekends
college.
then.
No, I didn't even do it. I came here every month, but
Mm,
still I knew that I was homesick and I kept on losing weight
mm,
until a point it was okay with me. And then I
mm.
started gaining again. No, when I joined college, I was 68 kgs, and by the end of first year, I was 54 kgs.
Wow. Hmm.
So that was the first chain that I broke. And then it gave me the guts to go explore
Mm,
away from home. I kept
mm,
on going out. I kept on learning new things. I stayed home a few hours a day, and I
mm,
kept on roaming the entire day after college,
mm,
which gave me the
mm,
guts to go to offices, to go to, the first few clients that I got. I did it by knocking doors. It
hmm.
was a door-to-door sale. I went
Wow.
from office to office to office, supermarket to salon to restaurant to get clients.
Wow.
So,
This was
so
in your
that
freelancing job.
yeah, during my freelancing, my initial days of freelancing.
Okay.
So that was right after college, and that was the first chain that I broke. Being away
Mm,
from home and being alone and figuring
mm,
things out alone. And the next chain was the chain of no security.
mm,
One thing that I understood is that there is no such thing called security.
mm,
No matter in what job you are in, there's no such thing called income security for per se,
mm, mm,
right? Because there's always some danger that's lying around. There's always some unforeseen circumstances that might come along. So
mm,
there's no such thing called security, and be okay with being insecure.
mm.
So
Right.
no, because when you think there's security, and you think that you might fail, you become very insecure. But when
Mm,
you become okay with insecurity, I think we can keep flowing with insecurity and still get things done.
mm, mm.
So anyhow,
Nice.
there's going to be insecurity. So why not make peace with it?
Right. That's a reality of it, right? I mean, if you think nothing can be secure when things are constantly changing. There's no certainty, right?
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So I made peace with that. So that's the second chain that I
Mm.
broke. And I was an introvert. I'm still an introvert. You know it very well. So which I can speak very well. That does not mean the conversations give me more energy.
Right. Right.
When I'm in crowds, people actually drain me easily. I
Mm.
get drained when I'm in crowds. I have to come sit alone to gain to recharge myself.
I can imagine
So, but
and relate.
yeah, but no, speaking with people is what it takes to move to the next phase in life. So I had to make
Mm,
peace with that too. So that's the
mm.
next chain that I think I
Wow.
broke. So
Mm,
that's another chain. I'm
wow.
I'm very good in no, I'm very good in communicating with people. I can speak. I can sell,
Mm,
but it is
mm,
all outside of my comfort zone. Every time I do
mm,
it, I step out of my comfort zone to do it. So that's
mm,
another chain that I broke.
mm.
And that is all I think for now. That's all I can think of. So,
Wow. Wow.
and
That's
the next
that's.
next very important one is no. I grew up in a household where I did not have strong male figures, right?
Mm,
Because
mm,
my dad passed away very early in life, and my mom brought me and my brother up together alone.
mm.
So my brother is my younger brother, which means I'm the eldest in the family, and I'm the male figure that I can look up to. So I
Right.
did not have that no privilege.
mm,
But
mm.
one thing that I've understood is taking inspiration and taking mentorship and taking asking for help with from other people is okay.
Well said.
Because
Well said.
I was brought up in a cocoon where
Mm.
my mom thought everyone in the world is bad, and
Mm,
and she had to prevent us from getting in touch with these bad people, and she kept
mm,
us in a cocoon for a very long time.
mm, mm.
I don't even blame her for it, because
Of
those are
course.
the no, she went through a lot of things and she had to keep us that way.
Mm, mm.
But I had to break that cocoon and come out and mingle with people and ask for help. Asking for help is the bravest thing one can do, I believe. And
Absolutely.
someone
Absolutely.
told me this, and then I started doing it.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Fantastic. And
thankfully,
this
see,
probably could have been the hardest chain to break, I suppose. Yeah.
yep, yep. It was hard in the beginning, but
Mm.
then it was okay. Every time I took help, it made me feel good, and it made the person who offered me the help feel good. So
Excellent.
so it's a win-win game.
It's a win-win game. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Awesome. Awesome. Um, Fantastic. I think I get reminded of um, Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, who is also a breaker of chains. I think, except she broke the chains for others, and here we are talking about how we break our own chains. But these are very inspiring. So that I think um, it's uh, a lot of us, don't get to remember, don't be don't get to be conscious about even these chains and how we broke them. And here you are, been able to kind of blurt it out because it's on top of your mind. I think it's really good to be aware uh, and conscious of these um, little victories, personal victories that we have seen over the years. I think it gives us motivation, keeps us going too, right?
I
um,
think this is what is progress. This is one of my value systems, and so I'm very aware of this. I was
right.
not so big before this.
Mm, mm,
Before,
mm,
if you asked me the same question like 4 years ago, I would have
mm.
not known this.
Mm, mm.
But since these things align with my value systems, I understand that okay. So I've done these, and I should be proud of this,
See,
because
it's
most people.
interesting that you say that because um, when you say progress as a value, generally we would all think of making progress. You look at time in a forward scale, but what you just said is very very profound to me, because you're looking backwards also and seeing where you've come, how you've made progress, if you've made progress. So I think it's an interesting dimension to the idea of progress or value, progress as a value, because that helps you, that looking back at your journey, looking at your progress, kind of gives you confidence, motivates you, keeps you going. Very very interesting. I didn't think of it that way when you said progress as one of your values. So look at your timeline both ways, always, right?
I know I was watching this interesting Instagram reel where a gym going guy goes to his master and says, "I don't see progress in muscles."
Mm,
And then the master says, "You were waking up at 9 o'clock. Now you wake up at 6 o'clock. You
right.
did not even come to the gym regularly, and now you come every single day.
Mm,
And you were eating junk, and now you eat protein and fiber.
mm.
This is progress, and you don't see it."
Wow.
Likewise, most people don't see it
Mm,
that way. We want tangible outcomes to see progress. We
mm,
don't always need tangible outcomes to see progress.
mm.
There's always progress in everyone's life. We just have to look at it, I believe.
Right, right. Very well said. You're the social guy. You run the social company. You're the social guy. Um, the social media and online world, right? And I have a peeve, a bit of a peeve about it, right? It has changed our vocabulary. It has diluted the idea of friends. To me, it feels like, when Facebook came, people were proud of having so many friends, but how many friendships? Um, and then, Instagram and Twitter's, where you have so many followers, but is there a real following? Um, so to me, I wanted to hear it from you, for somebody who is the master of uh, you know gaining that reach and followers and followership and so on. How do you make it real? How do you how can you um, you be able to make that influence? How can you inspire and influence action, um, create that following than just having those followers? Do you see that even possible, first of all, or is it just a channel for distribution? Can it be more than that? And if it is possible, how do we do that?
Beautiful question, Prasanna. One thing that I would know remind myself every single day when I open social media is that that is not your family.
Hmm.
Your real family and real friends are outside of social media. They don't even
Hmm.
no, they won't even have the time to see it, or they most of them they don't even engage on my content.
Right.
And when they see the content, they won't even no engage on it. They call me and say that hey, I saw this content and I loved it. So
Right.
those people are real people.
Hmm.
The way I see it is initially when I started creating content on social media, I understood that I was doing it for no distribution, because
Hmm.
I'm a business owner and I want a distribution, and this is content is the cheapest form of distribution today. It's
Hmm.
so easy to build an audience with good content,
Hmm.
and if you can give good valuable content, people will follow you. They will like your content and they'll follow you because we like valuable content, and there
Right.
are people like us in this world, and they
Hmm.
will they will find us and they will stick with us.
Right.
But inspiring real change is up to them, PJ.
Hmm.
It's not up to us.
Hmm.
You can be very of course we want to inspire change, and we have to believe that we are worthy of being of use.
Hmm.
But at the same time, they have to believe that they're worthy of change.
Hmm.
So it's
Wow.
a two-way game. It's not a one-way game.
Hmm.
You can give so much content, but if you're not speaking to the right audience,
Hmm.
you're still shouting at the wall.
Hmm. Hmm. Very
So it's
interesting.
about
So,
the kind
so you
of
need to
audience
have
that
that
follows
kind of a
you.
matchmaking done there. Uh,
Yeah,
Out of gazillion followers, there may be 20 that can claim to have,
exactly.
you can claim to have changed their life, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And 20 is a lot.
Yeah, if you're lucky, yeah, true.
Yeah, if you're lucky, yeah. 20 is a lot. So
Yeah.
that itself is that itself could be someone's life's purpose, to change 20 people's lives to the better.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
you know, but the way I see it, people get inspired by everyone now, but
Hmm.
not everyone takes action by with the inspiration they have.
Hmm. Hmm. True.
So
Then what good is
yes, you
inspiration
can
then?
make. Yeah, what good is inspiration then?
Yeah.
Actually, one thing that I see in today's, especially in today's young world, is that Gen Z, for that matter. What I
Are
see
you
is,
are you one?
no, I'm Gen Y. Thankfully.
Whatever that means.
Uh,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah, go
but
on. I was just
world is
curious. Yeah.
different. Abhijit.
Yeah.
The Gen Z world is different. No,
Hmm.
we are different. Gen Y and no and people before that, Gen X, we were all different. And Gen Z, there's a drastic change that I'm seeing where people consume a lot,
Hmm.
but don't put to use. We
Hmm.
consumed less, but
Hmm.
we were looking for places to put it to use.
Hmm.
So that's
Hmm.
there's a huge gap in the application of knowledge that Gen Z has. There
Hmm.
is no doubt that Gen Z is the most intelligent breed of people that we've ever had on planet Earth,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
they're not the most application oriented people.
Impactful. Yeah.
Yeah, the impact from the learnings they have,
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't think it's where it should be.
Whoa. Okay.
So
Interesting.
and this could be very generic. When I say this, I don't have data to back this up,
Hmm.
but this is what I see. I have over 386,000 followers, I guess. And from these 386K people that follow me, at least 70% is Gen Z,
Hmm.
because they're the
Hmm.
ones who are active on Instagram.
Hmm.
And from them, the way I see this, I'm sure that most of them are not no applying the content that they consume, and not a lot of people are consciously consuming content. They
Hmm.
just consume it for the sake of consuming, and after 10 reels they forget the first reel. And at the 11th reel they forget the second reel.
Right.
Right,
Right.
so so there's this term called mindless scrolling now.
Right.
It's not scrolling, it's mindless scrolling now. So
Right. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if there has been a thing called mindful scrolling, even if it would make sense. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So I agree with you in a way, right? I mean, it's a two-way street. It has to be mutual, where whatever kind of, because it's also asynchronous, right? We kind of put things out there. We are not able to see people who consume and react, and people who do consume and react have to be in the right uh, mindset and attitude to consume and be able to take action on that. So, um, but still, I wonder, maybe in some world, if there is a way to make all these reach matter. um, it would be interesting. You're a super consistent person, and I've seen, and you've mentioned it to me, and you and I have had a very deep conversation about consistency also. I don't know if you remember one of our early conversations, how I feel about commitment and consistency as a chain, and how you see it as a prop or as a ladder. So and I want to take that further. How do you do it? I mean, you've done it for what, more than a year every single day, or almost a year every single day, I think, right? You don't stop. Every day you put out content, and you've done that for years. So tell me about it, and what do you feel stuck? Do you ever feel stuck? Is this something for me personally? Because every time I feel like I have to commit to something like that, I'm afraid, I'm scared, because uh, yeah, what if I get stuck with that? So
Right.
yeah, what do you think of that,
Right.
and what do you have
When
to say
people
to
think
me?
of consistency, yeah, when people think
Yeah.
of consistency, they think about doing it for a very long time. And my
Mm,
idea of consistency is doing it today very well.
mm,
That's it. That's the
mm,
difference. Because long-term thinking brings anxiety,
mm.
and no, I'm not good with anxiety, and I know it. So,
Yeah.
so the way I see it is today I have to do it. So forget about today, forget about no next week, forget about next month. Let's do today. Let's perform today's tasks very well.
Mm,
So that's
mm.
what consistency means to me. For example, I posted over 1,000 days consistently on LinkedIn
Wow.
without even a
Whoa.
single day's break.
Mm.
But that does not mean that I wanted to be consistent for 1,000 days. I wanted to create good content today.
Totally. See, because this is one story that I remember seeing, that I would like to kind of share here. So there was this keynote speaker who was invited to an annual day of a company that I was working for. She was a mountaineer. She talked about her experience scaling peaks, right? The preparation, the fitness, the diet, the and actual day when she starts climbing, and checking all the equipment and having the help and all of that, right? And then the actual climb itself, how arduous and dangerous it can be, and the thrill, the adrenaline that comes with it. And after all that, making the climb, doing it hours, for hours, getting to the peak, standing there, all she sees is this dirt below the feet. So it's nothing remarkable about that space. It's the journey, it's the thrill of doing it. And
Exactly.
that's what she talks about, and it's every step that she takes to make that climb. And to your point, right? Success, the big success isn't quite uh, big a deal when you have enjoyed every step that you have taken towards it, right?
Exactly. And that's why we call it progress and not success.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Fantastic. So there's one more thing that you and I have talked about in a slightly different context. Okay, so about rituals. See, I've always looked at rituals when I was a child, coming from a family that had, even though not very deep rooted, but somewhat of a religious inclination, so to speak, and there were a lot of rituals involved in that. And as I grew up, as I grew a mind of my own, which was not really quite welcome at home, but I started questioning these things, right? When I found it, um, uh, far from reason, right? If I couldn't explain, if I couldn't reason it out, I couldn't do it. So and then a lot of thinking happened, and until recently, I thought rituals are bad, right? But then, I started thinking about the benefits of rituals. Why did ritual come about? Why do billions of people in the world adopt rituals, whether it is religious, whether it is non-religious, whatever, right? So it got me thinking, and I'm wondering, after reading some material about it, I feel rituals are a beautiful way of bringing people together. Particularly, when you put a bunch of strangers in the room and create a small ritual, you will see that they start talking to each other, they
Yep.
connect with each other. Also, in scenarios where you kind of uh, when a relationship is not going very well, a ritual can mend it, right? So there are benefits to rituals, right? And also, ritual create predictability. It
Yeah.
kind of puts you in a comfort zone. It comforts you in a way. So I'm wondering, so that what rituals do you engage in, whether it's personally or professionally, and how does it help you?
Right, right. Now, again, coming from my anxiety past, and the reason why I have a ritual is because I want things on my calendar. I want it to be predictable,
Hmm.
and the way I make my day predictable is by having a few things to do
Hmm.
at a specific time. I
Hmm.
call this a time for everything and everything in its time.
Wow.
It
Okay.
is as simple as that, which
Okay.
means you have a time for something, and that time has been allocated for that specific task, and you do it at that time. If you miss it, you postpone it to some other day, but not that day itself, which means you get to perform the other tasks properly. So the idea
Hmm.
is to not be stressed doing some work. For example, there are no of late we've been seeing a lot of YouTube interviews, especially Westerners speaking about rituals. You wake up at 5 o'clock, take a cold bath, go to gym, come back, eat only protein, eat meat, and then you get into your work mode, work for 10 hours. That's not a ritual. That's
Hmm.
stress.
Hmm.
I tell you what a ritual is. A ritual is something that makes you feel good about yourself, right?
Hmm.
So you do something, and you made a commitment to yourself that you'll do a specific task at a specific time, and you do that task at that time, and at the end of the task, you feel a dopamine rush
Hmm.
that you've succeeded that little task, and that
Wow.
is so if you start feeling good about yourself,
Hmm.
and that's a good ritual.
Hmm.
And it could be anything, it could be anything. I have a few rituals. I actually I we me and my wife, we used to be a gym going couple for a very long time before COVID, and after COVID we got into a sort of laziness. We didn't work out at home also, we did not go to gym also, and we gained around 8 9 kgs in the past 2 years. And now we've started losing weight. We've lost around, I personally have lost around 3 kgs in the past 3 weeks. So,
Hmm.
but one thing that I see is now I don't have a goal to achieve. I have a ritual to maintain. So the idea is a time for my gym, and I'll be at the gym at that time. That's it, and that makes my life very predictable. I don't have surprises, right?
Hmm.
So that predictability is what ritual to me. Other things I read or I listen to, I see them, and when you feel stress in your ritual, you won't be able to do it for a very long time, and that again, you feel bad about yourself because you can't be consistent in it. I'll repeat this: ritual is something that makes you feel good about yourself. So if you
Wow.
feel bad about yourself, then that ritual is not for you. So
Wow. Yeah. Any ritual that you've designed for yourself at work, for yourself or with your team? Is there something that you do, like
I
celebrating small
meditate.
wins?
I meditate. That's the first ritual, and that too I'm not consistent in it. I do it and I feel good about it. If I'm not consistent in it, it's okay, I do it the next day. So that's meditation. And meditation, I do a gratitude meditation. I It's not a one thought thing. I think about things that I'm grateful for, and I feel it, and I go with my day. And now I've started working out again, and that's a ritual for me, because gym time is peace for me. So that's one of the places that I feel, feel at peace. So that's a ritual.
Mm.
And I read a lot. I read a lot. you know I know that you read a lot too, so not as much as you, I guess, but I read a lot too, so so so
Yeah,
that is there.
I was going to
um,
come to that a little later, but now that you brought it up, right? What do you think of writing, reading, language in general? Um, let's explore that a little bit.
right. They are all interconnected, PJ, because the more you read, the more you get to speak the right words. Your choice of words will differ from others. So no, I can bet on this. You will see a difference after 10 years of starting to read. Until then, you might not feel a lot of difference, but once you cross the 10-year mark, if you read for every single let's say you read a book a month, let's say you read it for 10 years, you would have crossed 300 books, right? And sorry, 120 books. So 120 books would have changed your life, the way you put your words on paper and in speech. You will be a completely different person in the way you express your thoughts. So your way of expression itself changes. Books change that. And it's not just the books you read, it's about what books you read. so
True.
if you read good books, your thought process itself will change. It changes to a good thought process. I would suggest to you read everything that you get in the beginning, and then you understand what genre you like, and then stick with that genre. It's not that you should read self-help books to become a positive person. I think reading itself makes you positive.
Amazing, amazing. And it's interesting what the way you put it, right? Because it's not just the vocabulary. It's not like you read for 10 years and you can recall those words and blurt it out. It's
Yep,
it helps you create your own way of expression, because your mind gets rewired, uh, right?
exactly.
So that's very interesting way of putting it. um, Other than that, do you have rules? Do you have a grammar, so to speak, for yourself when you write, or when you even speak, for that matter?
Right. My English is very simple, PJ. No, I could have read a lot of books. That does not mean that I know a lot of words. Words don't stick with me. If you count the amount of words that I've written on LinkedIn and segregate it, it will not cross 300 words. I bet. so, so you can know very little of a language and still be able to express it very well if you've read a lot of books, or if you practiced writing a lot or practice speaking a lot.
Mhm.
So it's in the practice. It's not in knowing the language very well. It's about doing the best with what you already have,
Right.
right? No, like Tony Robbins beautifully puts, it's not about how much resources you have. It's about how resourceful you are. Books make you resourceful.
So true. So true. I'm with you on that.
No, there is this beautiful saying: the richness in your experiences are often seen in your words.
Totally true. Totally true. You've been an inspiration, Sudhar, for a lot of people, right? Your team, starting with your team, um, a lot of other people. I see how people respond to your posts online, and uh, I would like to know what is Sudhar's inspiration. Who is Sudhar's inspiration? It doesn't have to be one individual; it could be many. But who do you look up to? Who has inspired you? And maybe talk a little bit about your mentors and also inspirations.
Right. Of course, I have a lot of mentors, but the way I see it, you become what you see most in this world. You see inspiration in people, in everyone, and you become inspiring. If you see flaws in people, you become flawed. So what you see more of is who you will become. So basically, I take inspiration from everyone I meet, from everything I see. So uh, I call this supermarket approach. You take what you want from your life and leave what you don't want. You go through experiences, you see a lot of things in life, but you take only what you want. So for
Excellent.
example, if a person gives you bad experiences, yeah, that person that at that point of time gave you bad experiences, but there's always going to be something that might inspire you from that person. So it could be that bad experience itself.
It could
You
be an
won't know it
inspiration.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So it's about seeing inspiration everywhere. It's about loving life as
Right.
it is. That itself is, I think that itself will take you places. But I have my cousin. He's been a huge inspiration to me since I was, like I said, I did not have a strong male example to look up to. And my cousin, once he grew up, he quit his job in the US. He came back to India, and that's when we got close.
Hmm.
And since then he's been that male strong role model in my house for me. And everything that he does, I do it a bit slower. So so that's how it has been. And he's pretty successful. He's happy, and he's been impacting a lot of lives. And that has made me do the same too. So
Fantastic.
he's one big example. And but no, I take inspiration from everyone, PJ. There's uh, no if you know in this conversation, I've been telling you off camera that you're doing an amazing job at this, and this is definitely a hit. Because I'm getting inspired by you, so that I know that things that you do is going to inspire a lot of people,
Appreciate that.
right? So because I think that's where true inspiration comes from, being of use.
Yeah, no, this is very profound when I hear you say that, because it has occurred to me as well. Um, the idea of mentor, idea of guru, idea of inspiration, I believe deeply in that, but it doesn't have to be one person. It doesn't have to be one thing. And drawing inspiration from everything and everybody around you, like you said, is so liberating, because it doesn't end. There is no dearth of it. It's limitless, right? It's so abundant, to learn from whatever you see and hear and experience, and draw inspiration from that. It's incredible. So there's one thing that I want to ask you, so that, and it's something that's coming from a recent conversation you and I had. So last time we met, you spoke about how you enjoyed those vacations that you had as a child, um, at your hometown. It's a village, I think you mentioned, with your granddad. And you also mentioned that he passed about a couple of years back, and it did hit you hard. Um, I want to ask you, Sudhar, how do you imagine that vacation will be if you were having that vacation today with him? How do you imagine that? You're a changed person today, from 2 years or 3 years back. How do you see that vacation being, and what do you hear him say to you?
Wow. Actually, I heard things that he wanted to tell me, and he actually was open about it. One thing that I don't regret in life is that no, I actually show he saw me doing good in life before he passed.
Wow.
So he was really happy about it. He's seen almost all of us, all my cousins doing well in life before he passed away. And he was really proud of us, all of us.
How nice.
He was no he actually saw the results of the seeds that he sowed. So
How
so he
nice.
sowed good seeds, and it all he got to reap all of it. So he saw the results of all the seeds that he sowed.
Hmm.
And so he was open about it. He even spoke about it to us, and he was happy that we were doing well.
Hmm.
So one big advantage of living a long life is, seeing the results of the deeds that you do,
Right.
right? Most of the things that I know in life today, my granddad taught me. Right from playing chess to playing cards to reading English to writing English. My cousins and I, we share a same handwriting. You won't believe it, and it comes from
Wow.
my granddad. His handwriting is what we have today. So especially my elder cousin, the brother that I'm talking about, Dharan. His handwriting and my handwriting, you won't be able to find a difference if you were to read it for the first time.
Wow.
Right, so that's how much impact our granddad has had in us.
Mm.
So to the point where we copied his handwriting. So,
Wow.
so
Very excellent.
there wouldn't be much of a difference, Prasanna, because he treated us the way we were, and he started respecting us more than loving us more as we grew up in life.
How
He started
nice.
seeing us as an equal, and he used to talk to us about everything in the world.
That's a role
Uh,
model to be
yeah,
how to grow as a parent and a grandparent. So that's a great lesson for us also, so that as parents, right? Because we've been living in a culture where, um, in general, you become a parent, you raise children, and then the role reverses. For some children,
yes,
unfortunately, the role reverses while they're young itself, right? So but this is a beautiful example. This is a role model for, once you're a parent, you're always a parent, and you need to continue playing that role.
true.
And beyond a certain point, uh, you can become an adult, a peer, but still a parent. You don't become dependent emotionally, or of course there are certain dependency that will happen because of the age and everything, but emotionally you still support. You're still at the still playing a role where you support, not seek support, right? This is very very deep lesson that your granddad has been example of, right? Now I want to kind of make a shift, right? uh, I would like us to talk about personal branding, because this is fairly new as a business, as a vertical, so to speak. I see a lot of people calling themselves personal branding strategists, personal branding consultants, and so on. Just like how there are a dime a dozen coaches out there, I also see a lot of personal branding experts, quote unquote, coming up, and it's an indication that it is an up and coming um, field, right? Because once the field matures, you'll only see good players, uh, who can sustain, who can survive.
True.
When it is kind of coming up, everybody tries to be on the bandwagon. Um, but what I want to do is unpack this a little bit, right? What is personal branding, and I also want to unpack a little bit about the business of personal branding too, right? um, let's start with what personal branding is. To me, uh, branding is identity, right? To me, everybody has an identity. Every individual, every business has an identity. And I think it's safe to say that every person's identity is unique. But when that identity becomes kind of recognizable easily to some extent, it kind of becomes a brand, right? And it is also, in a way, a promise that you make, and your commitment to that promise reflects how your brand is perceived in the public, how the people recognize the brand. Those are my views, but I want to hear from you what you think a personal brand is, and what is your promise.
Right. Beautiful, beautiful. See, let me again go back to what you said about brand. No, we think that a brand is an identity, but the actual brand is the idea behind that identity. An identity is a logo, right? For example, in a Nike, the tick mark is a logo, but the idea is something else. The actual idea is behind that identity, and that idea is what has to spread across, and that's what is branding. It's not about putting this identity everywhere, putting a logo everywhere and calling it a brand. So, for example, let me quote an example of Nike. Now, the CEO of Nike was speaking in an event, and he asked people, "How many of you work out at least once a week?" And almost the entire hall stood up. And then he asked, "Keep standing the people who are working out at least 3 days a week." And half the hall sat down, and half the hall was standing up. And then he asked, "How many people work out 5 days a week?" And then almost all hall sat down, and 15 to 20 people were standing up. And then he asked, "How many of you run every single day or work out every single day?" 7 people were standing up in the entire hall. And then he goes saying this: "When you run in the snow, in the rain, in the heat, and in the night, you see a lamp, and under the lamp, in that small light, we are standing there cheering for you while you just do it."
Wow.
That's the message. That's the brand. It's not the logo. It's that idea of being there for people who just do it is the brand. And that's why they do just do it. Just do it is their no,
Brand
it's
promise.
the slogan. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the promise. Being there for people who are willing to do it. And that's why they never bring people who win matches. They bring in people who inspire people in those matches. Have you seen Nike has never made people who when they choose their brand ambassador, they never choose people who win big in life. They choose people who win people's hearts.
Wow.
Right? So that's their idea. So that's how this goes. So when you talk about personal branding, yes, personal branding is up and coming, and it's becoming a huge niche in itself, which I'm happy about, because we are one of the pioneers who started personal branding in Tamil Nadu, in this language, and in India, for that matter. But one thing that I understand is that this is a very specific niche, and this specific niche takes a lot of experience to put this forward. This is not something that can be done with everyone. And once you understand that, this becomes a niche for you. But when you start selling personal branding, this niche gets diluted. No, there is no point in no. You cannot brand people who are not brand worthy. And that's something that I strongly believe in, because people don't follow you, people follow the idea behind you.
Hmm.
If you don't have a strong idea, your brand is going to fall, or it's not going to rise at all.
What does it mean to be brand worthy, Sudhar, to you? And you also said that, if you're not brand worthy, personal branding is not for you. How do you choose your clients? I think it's a two-part question, somewhat related. But let's start with, what is brand worthiness to you?
Right. People don't follow you, people follow your work. Right? People don't follow you, people follow your work, which means you should have done a lot of work in order to talk about your work. And that work has your idea behind it, and that idea gets branded, and that's personal branding. So people don't want to know you, they want to know your work through you, but they need a face to relate, and that's your personal brand. Right?
Hmm.
Personal brand is not something that you build for marketing, it's not for sales, it's for that relatability that people feel when they look into your logo, or when they look at your face. And I know this guy, he speaks the right things, and I'm going to buy from him. That's the idea that you give when you build a personal brand. But if you don't speak the right things, if you don't have an idea, if you don't know what you're talking about, if you're not done enough work in your industry, there's no point in talking about you. I think no, those people should talk more about their business than about themselves. Build a business to a point where they can talk about their work.
Right.
So there's a two way. This is actually a double edged sword. There's a good side to it, and there's a bad side to it. So I've actually spoken about a lot of good things that has happened through personal branding, but I've seen a lot of bad things happen, not in my clientele, but no, but uh, in people who started trying building personal branding, because they think that this is their way to success.
Hmm.
What they don't know is they should already know who they are in order to build a personal brand, to establish who they are. Because you're not building a personal brand, you're only establishing a personal brand online.
Hmm.
If you don't already believe it, if you don't already know that you are a brand, you cannot be a brand. Right?
Wow.
It's an inside out thing. I've seen people who don't even call it personal branding, but still they become personal brands because they're that brand worthy. Right? They don't even call themselves a personal brand. They don't deliberately build it, but it automatically gets built.
So Sudhar, you work with a lot of clients, and you reach out, and some prospective clients reach out to you. Um, how do you see through them? Because obviously they may not be a brand yet, or established brand yet, recognizable brand yet. How do you see through whether they are brand worthy? How do you know? How do you choose your clients? In a way,
Right.
it could be like mining for gold, but you have to dig a lot of dirt out to find that gold. How do you do that?
True. One good thing about us is that we don't pitch to people. They come to us and then we talk about our services. 100% of our clientele is either inbound or through referrals. We do not do any kind of marketing activities to brand our services, right? Which is a good part of being in this business, because this business is unsellable. This has to be bought, not sold, right? So when people come to us, we understand that they come from a point of need. They have some need of personal branding, and so they come to us. And we understand that if that need is coming from a place of want, or from a place of abundance, I'll tell you how it works. If they want to take a lot from creating content and being out there, and the fame is what they want, personal branding is not for them. But if they have a lot of things and they know that they can offer a lot to this world, and in return of the value they give, if they make a lot of money out of it, if they do a lot of sales out of it, that's okay. But that only comes with the return of value that they give. So they should come with a giving mindset than a getting mindset, and that giving mindset is what is going to take them to the next phase in their personal branding journey. So it's all about giving. It's about you give, and the world automatically gives back to you. You don't ask at all. You don't have to ask at all. No, because the world. No, I have the strong belief that our audience never keep debt. They always pay you back. Be it
Wow,
today or tomorrow, they're going to pay you back.
very very nicely put. Very nicely
Yep.
put. Another question, maybe it's something that I understand what it is, what a brand is, and personal branding is. It could be for a lot of people who are yet to understand, who are looking for answers. How is personal branding different from public relations? How is it different from
Right.
PR? How is being newsworthy same as being brand worthy, or vice versa?
Good one. Good one. Newsworthy is when PR is when you use someone else's distribution. Personal branding is when you have your own distribution and build it for your own. That's the difference. Now, being on TV, being on newspapers, being on magazines is one way of putting yourself out there. But we live in a noisy world. That's something that we have to remember even before getting on this journey. You make noise today, and your next PR article is going to come next year. And by the time you come out next year, people would have already forgotten you. So that's PR. I'm not saying that PR is bad. PR is very good, but not on a long run.
And not
If
not
you
on its
want,
own also.
not on its own, yeah. So that's only part of the deal. So, but if you're going to build a personal brand, I would suggest that you build your own distribution, own your distribution,
Hmm.
so that you have digital properties across platforms, and you get to tell what you want to tell at whenever you want to tell to your audience. And since you live in a noisy world, you get to be out there on a regular basis, if not on a daily basis, at least weekly basis, at least in regularity. People know that you're going to come out and speak. So
Nice.
that has to be there. That connection that you have with people on a regular basis is what is personal branding. That people know that you're going to put out content today. So that's personal branding. People know that you're going to add value today. That's personal branding.
Wow. Wow. Fantastic. Very well put. Going back to the business of personal branding, so the um, and we talked about this kind of becoming a fad, uh, unfortunately, but it will correct itself as the industry matures and grows, and that's how all early stage of all the industries are. Um, in this noise, how do you separate signal from noise? I'm a prospective client. I'm looking for personal branding uh, support, right? How do I separate signal from noise? Is one perspective. The other perspective is, as a personal branding agency, how do you position yourself and price yourself in a way that I see you as a signal and not a noise?
Beautiful, beautiful. Um, let's talk about signaling and noise. And noise. Uh, you don't talk about your services. You be the product of your own product. That's the best way to let the world know that you are not just another agency. You're really serious about what you're doing, right? Like we started this conversation. Best way to sell your product is to be the product of your own product. So if you are the product of your product, be it in any industry, you are brand worthy. It's as simple as that. No, if you are a coach and if you are sorted mentally, then you are brand worthy because you know what you're doing. So you're not going to tell someone what you haven't done. So that's where it all starts from. That's where it's a signal and it's not noise. And in terms of pricing and in terms of positioning, it depends on who your target audience is. My target audience is decision makers, CXOs, founders, leaders of industries, basically people who have, like I said, no, I think I've connected a lot of work with leadership. If they've done a lot of work and succeeded in their life, which means they've no, they're brand worthy. So my target audience is CXOs. So in order to cut noise, I have to price it premium for a premium audience and work with few people alone, not with a bunch of people. I don't work with 1,000 people at the same time. No, at any point of time we cap at 100, 110. That's it, not more than that. Because we don't want to deal with a lot of people and reduce our quality. So we keep the same quality and work at a premium pricing, so that people understand that we are going to spend time with them, we are going to understand them personally, and sit with them, understand them, talk to them, know their family, and become friends with them. The clients that we worked with, they invite us to their family functions. So that's how close we get with people, and not just
But in
me,
a
my
way,
entire
that's
team.
also
They
essential part of being a personal branding consultant, right? You need to know the person behind the brand,
exactly,
uh,
exactly.
and I don't see any other way around it, right? It has to be, and this is a very clear indication that you care about knowing the person behind the brand, and they reciprocate, and that's probably why
So true.
you're being so effective at what you do. You're being the craftsman that you are in what you do.
So true. Now some businesses run only on relationship, PJ, and my business is one of them. This runs only on relationship. Relationship is the fuel here. You have to keep the relationship going, grow the relationship as we go, become thick friends, become know everything about them, and tell them how they can use what they have to their advantage in branding them. Because sometimes people don't know what they have. They might know a lot of things. They might have done a lot of work. I have a very good example. I know a client who every year he gives three bonuses. All three bonuses are full month salaries, and he's been doing it for the past 20 years, and he's never spoken about it outside.
Wow.
No, from a branding perspective, I think that he should have spoken about it, and that should be his branding pitch. He has taken care of his employees to this level, where he gives 3 month extra salary every year.
Wow.
But he has not spoken about it, and he didn't even know that he should talk about it. But when I met him, and this too, he did not tell in a professional conversation. When we were just sitting around drinking coffee, I had went to Coimbatore, and he came to meet me, and we were drinking coffee and talking for an hour, and that's when he told me this. And if I had not met him that day, he would have not told me that. to told me this information, and we would have not been able to use this information to his advantage. So the
Wow.
idea is to get close to them, to understand them as a person, and see how we can use what they have.
Wow. Excellent. Excellent. No, makes a lot of sense, and I clearly see why you are being so successful and being a craftsman in
I
your
am
trade.
progressing.
No, we all are, but I think
Yeah.
every that's a that's being modest, but
Right.
you're doing great on that. Um, One last uh, question about this, and I think this is an area I wanted to explore with you specifically, so that see, I've been out of college and been in the work for about a little over 20 years now, right? And I've seen a lot of people, both employees and entrepreneurs, founders. There are a very few people, handful that I can say, who have the level of ethics that you do. What is your view on ethics of doing business? Doesn't matter what it is. And why do you think it is important? And why do you think it can make or break? I could say long term, but these days it's not just long term. It can make or break in a day. So,
Yeah.
um, what are your views on that? I want to explore that with you.
First of all, thank you so much for saying this. Totally. Thank you so much. The way I see it is, like I said, peace of mind is one of my value systems, and I would like to sleep peacefully. So when I know that I have not done something right, I don't get to sleep peacefully. So it's a whole selfish notion by which I have to be ethical,
Right.
uh, because so it's not the other way around. It's not for other people. It's not for the world. It's not because I if I give that I get that back. It's not so. It's because of that day's sleep. I live a day for that day. I don't think about tomorrow. I don't think about the next year. uh, of course I have goals, but that does not mean I have to keep thinking about it.
Right.
So if I have to sleep peacefully today, I should have been a good person today. So I think that isn't that reason enough to be ethical.
No, absolutely. See, I think um, the best things that we do are mostly the things that we do for ourselves. It may appear, again, another paradox. It may appear selfish, self-centered. It may appear not too generous and so on, but I think even the most altruistic thing that we do it for ourselves. And when we are true to that, when we are being honest about it, I think it comes out. And what you said is beautiful, I think. And it would have been a little cheesy, I guess, if you said you do it for others, you do it for your clients. But
Yeah,
I believe you, right, when you say what you say, because that's what is bringing that consistency and true honesty. You do it for yourself. You need to face yourself in the mirror. Want to sleep well, and you want to be at peace with what you do and with yourself. And when that's the motivation to do something, uh, that comes from deep inside. So I
true.
think thanks for doing that. And I mean what I said when I said it, right. It's you're one of the few people that I know who has a level of ethics uh, that's up there. So I do, and I know that you will keep it up, because now I know the source of where it's coming from. I think that's strongly rooted. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, it all
uh,
comes down to understanding who we really are.
right, totally, totally. Um, One more thing,
Yep.
just one more thing, right? I know we have been talking for a long time. We started this off as a 30-minute, 45-minute conversation. We are what in about almost going to be 2 hours now. Uh, it didn't seem like it, but I think
Yeah,
I've
seriously.
enjoyed every bit of it. But just one more
Me
thing I
too.
want to talk before we kind of wrap it up. And I've got to bring this up, right? And I've been working with you for known you for about a year, probably a little over that, and working with your team as well. I got to say, your team loves you, man, and you inspire them. I've seen how they look up to you, and I've seen how you treat them. Um, and some of these traits, leadership traits, I'm sure come naturally to you, the kind of a person you are. I'm sure many of the traits and approaches that you take to leadership is something that you had to work hard to get. What's your view on that? What is how do you first thing how do you pick your team, right? Because it's a two-way street.
Yes.
And what is your leadership approach, and how do you do it intentionally?
Right. Um, how do I pick my team? I hire slow and fire fast. I give them opportunities. I keep them as a freelancer. I keep them outside the company and watch them. And then I give them small opportunities to prove themselves. And then I take them full time inside. So that's how I've been hiring until now. If I'm going to take freshers, they come as a they come as a intern. They stay as an intern for a month. And after that, if there's a match, we hire them. But no, and if we are going to fire them, it happens instantly. I fire very fast. And the thing is, the work ethic has to match. That's it. It's about the end goals. I know that I know for a fact that a company does not run without clients, which means the client's happiness is at the top of the checklist for any company. And if a client is unhappy, the team has to be responsible to it. It's as simple as that. And at the end of the day, the company runs on my face, so I have to be responsible for it. So so it's all in line. It's about being consumer, customer obsessed. If the customer is happy, everyone in this equation is happy. If the customer is unhappy, everyone in this equation is unhappy. So it's not the other way around. It's not about keeping the team happy so that the customer will be happy. It's that no, it's about team wanting to keep the customer happy so that all of us will be happy.
Right.
So it's about being customer focused and customer obsessed. So that's how I would pick my team. If someone worked with me, they know that it's going to be a lot of work because it's their job to keep the customers happy. So so that's how I see my team. And leadership, again, I've been lucky to hang around leaders a lot. So leadership is not taught, it's caught. No, you catch it when you meet people, when you talk to people, when you understand them, when you get to sit with leaders, you slowly turn into a leader. And that's what I think happened with me too. I was lucky enough to be with leaders for the most part of my adult professional life. So so that's one reason why I think I could have caught a few of their qualities. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's very humble of you to say that. But I think you're an amazing leader.
But I think that's the truth.
Yeah,
But it comes with an intention.
and
It's not that, yeah, but it comes with the pure intention of wanting to be a leader. No, I want to be a leader. I've always wanted to be a leader. And with that intention, when you sit with leaders, you naturally, catch it,
absorb it.
because
Yeah,
that's all you see it. No, that's all you see. You don't see other things. You only see how good a leader they are and how good a leader you can be. And if they have good qualities, you take those qualities and start applying it. So
excellent, excellent. No, I mean it. I mean, I've seen how your team adores you and feel inspired, and they cherish
yeah,
you. That's the
I'm
thing.
really grateful to have found the right team.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the other way around. I'm so grateful that they found me. Because they come to me through my LinkedIn, through my social media, and then I see their proof of work, and then I hire them. I only would have hired them for their work, but they would have proved even more. The ones
Right.
that who have stuck with me for a few years now, they're all exceptional. No, I'm really lucky to have such people in my company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent. So I think it's probably a good time to uh,
Yep.
wrap up so that I think we have been talking for 2 hours. Uh,
Doesn't seem like it.
It just didn't feel like it. Didn't seem like it at all. It
Seriously.
was a wonderful conversation. Thanks for opening up. I know a lot of things that we dwelled into, um, uh, were, could have been deeper areas where you were vulnerable, you were open. Thanks for doing that, and I hope that your audience also will appreciate and uh, get inspired by what they heard from you today.
Thank you so much for inviting me on this podcast, PJ. And one thing that I have to talk to you about is that I would like to tell about you is that you can actually dig deep into people, like you did today, and like you've been doing every single time that we meet. It's been an absolute pleasure knowing you, PJ. For a
Likewise,
very long
the
time,
feeling
we've
is
known each
mutual.
other for some time now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know that it's mutual, but still I have to tell this out loud. I have not told you this, so I'm telling you in this podcast, so
appreciate
so
that.
so that it goes on record.
No, thank you for saying that. It means a lot to me.
Cheers, PJ.
Thank you, Sudha.
Thank you so much.